that Vladimir Putin has awarded the Russian Medal of Honor to this guy, Ivan Neparatov or Neparatov. He's a 34-year-old serial killer who's been nicknamed the Maniac. In fact, he was nicknamed the Maniac at school because he used to take great pleasure back then in strangling animals. A passion he continued into adulthood, actually. And one time he robbed a woman, and after taking her money, he personally stabbed her 88 times. Now, for a whole string of murders and robberies, this guy was put in prison for, I think, 25 years. But because Putin was so desperate to get people to fight in Ukraine, the Maniac was released from prison and went into war on Putin's behalf as part of a special mercenary brigade, and he was shot in the head. Now, I thought it would be kind of interesting to look at his transition pictures to see what happens to a maniac, a fiend, an evil person like that when they cross over. And when I went into the energy, there was that symbolic cave I always see, and he was jettisoned into it, out of mortal life. He landed on his face. He was surprised. He was shocked. He stood up. And yes, there was that symbolic tunnel I always see that leads to the light. But there was also, to the left of that, a grotto with a blue light inside of it. And when he went towards it, he was filled with wonder, as if this was a reward and ample justification for the kind of evil life he led. Wow, who knew I could get away with it in that kind of way? And he walked up to it and he put his hand on, it wasn't glass, obviously, but it was like an aquarium. I half expected a giant whale to come out or a dinosaur or something just to crack against the glass, but no, he touched it. This was symbolic to me of evil meeting grace, perhaps for the first time in his life. Of viciousness meeting kindness. It was an interface between bleak nihilism and beauty and eternal meaning. And standing in his consciousness, touching that metaphorical, obviously, glass, I felt a coolness run through my entire body. It's like, yeah, calm down. All that energy you had that was so destructive in life, let it go now. But that coolness turned to numbness. I couldn't feel anything at all. And stunned by this, he kind of walked away, went to the regular tunnel, still numb, and somehow made his legs work going up the tunnel. As he went along, and as I went along in his consciousness, I suddenly went completely blind. That's never happened before. It was totally black. I couldn't see a thing. I was stumbling with my numb legs through this space that was completely alien to me. Looking from the outside, he was wandering up to the light that he couldn't see, couldn't feel, and heading straight into it. But I have a feeling that the reason that happened is because he was so divorced from his divine self, his humanity while he was alive, the essence of who he was as a human being, that he had to be numbed in the same way that you have to have your gums numbed when you have a tooth taken out. It's the only way that his low consciousness energy could be blended with, absorbed into, high consciousness energy. It was like sending a toy back to the factory. Come on in, we'll fix you. We'll try to work out what went wrong. I mean, he must have had a purpose in life and fulfilled his soul contract at some level. But it felt, as he wandered around, numb and blind, like he'd had to be immobilized. in order to get him where he needed to go.